What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Bronx Pinstripes Show. We're officially 1 week out from opening day. Today, we're brought to you by Mint Mobile. Tell you more about them in a little bit. Scott, 1 week to go, and we have a plan in place for our recording schedule.
We do have a plan in place. You want to tell everybody what we're going to be
Better
doing?
late than never.
Well, so we contemplated, if you're listening towards the end of the season, you know that we've been contemplating about like what we're doing with the show, if we're going to continue it, just because lives have gotten busy and what we're going to do. We've decided we're addicts. It's impossible for us to just completely stop this thing at this point. So we are going to scale it back a little bit though. In the past during the season, we have been doing 2 times a week, sometimes 3 even with guests, although that's kind of scaled back a little bit over the last year and a half. But this year we're going to do once a week. We're going to do Thursday mornings, 9 o'clock is what we have slated. And next week, as long as we get our testing all good, which should be fine because technology is here.
Never fails.
And we've done it. We've done it in the past. We're going to go live on YouTube while we're recording. Nothing really is going to change as far as what the show looks and feels like, but on YouTube it'll just be live. That way it's up there quicker. We can have some more engagement with all the listeners, which is something we enjoy. So if you're able to if you're at work or wherever you are, if you're able to tune in live, that's a way that you can catch the show as well. But then it'll be just like normal, up on all audio platforms as if it was nothing was different. So excited for that aspect of it because that's a little different, right? We're bringing a little live action to it. Gives us some ability to bring in some more multimedia and like do reaction stuff, and then again for like people to just comment and us to react in real time. I think that'll be fun.
Yeah, for sure. Thursday, I think, is a good day, too, because just looking at the schedule, especially in the first half of the season, there's a lot of Thursday off days, which is a nice, nice fill in the gap for us to be able to talk about all the series that have happened. In the past, we've obviously been more game and series reactive because we've done more frequent episodes. I'm not going to say we're not going to still do that this year. We obviously will. But it's not, in my opinion, when you are recording once a week, it's hard to talk about a game that happened 5 or 6 days ago in detail, unless it was the craziest game ever. Then who knows? We might even do an emergency episode. Someone throws a no-hitter, someone hits 4 home runs that warrants an emergency episode, or a massive trade or something like that. We hold the right to record whatever we want, but there still will be that Thursday episode. So it's going to be, I think, more storylines, trends, obviously, as well as reacting to what's happening in the games. But I kind of like that Thursday angle with the off days. Have you also looked at the first couple weeks of the season and just seen how bonkers weird the schedule is?
I didn't notice what's bonkers about it.
Well, they start with Milwaukee at home.
Right.
That's weird. It's a National League team. Then they play Arizona at home.
Right.
Another National League team. Then they go to Pittsburgh. Another National League team. Then they go to Detroit. Okay, an American League team, but not in your division. Then they have an off day, and then they host San Francisco and Kansas City. And it's not until April 17th that they actually play an American League East team when they have Tampa on the road at home at Steinbrenner Field.
Yeah. That's
so it's because of the balanced schedule now, where interleague play is throughout the season rather than focused on a couple weeks of the season. You can open with a National League team, you can close with a National League team, or you can start by playing all National League teams like they're doing this year.
Yeah. No, it feels a little different for sure. I think that I'm used to that now though. Because last year was strange in the fact that like they didn't play. Was it the Red Sox they didn't play for a significant amount of time, which just felt off. So I think we've been acclimated to this new balanced schedule and just understanding that any team can play at any point. And I know that they're trying to obviously keep the home games balanced as much as humanly possible to percentage of rain in Tampa as well. So trying to get games in when they believe there's a smaller chance of getting a rain out, which will definitely be a challenge. I'm interested to see how that plays out for the Rays and like how makeup games are going to happen throughout the year and all that. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on that.
I think I saw a headline that the Rays had like literally the day after we recorded last week, where we talked at length about what the Rays are doing with their stadium. There was some headline that their plans for a new stadium in St. Petersburg got axed.
Yeah, see, that's what I was telling you. That
was like the day after, though.
I know, but there was it was never fully in. This has happened twice. This has happened twice to them now.
It's weird that we randomly talk about that, and then it's announced that those plans got canceled. It's like it's like AI scraped the internet and realized someone's talking about it, and then they need to actually update on what's going on.
Well, if you think about it too, if that stadium was, let's call it 3 years out, which I think is probably pretty aggressive as far as the timeline goes to get that stadium. I don't know what how fast they can get up a stadium now.
Well,
but in the
Oakland's
meantime,
Vegas
what are they going to do? You know what I mean? Like they don't have a stadium to play in. So they have to figure something out, even if it's a temporary home somewhere for a few years. If they do, I don't know how they manage this. It's a tough one to manage for them. I think it's just an opportunity to just leave.
Just get out of there.
I think that's like the clearest solution here, because obviously the local municipality area and all of it, like they can't come to something that everybody is happy with, whether it's financial or, based on the crowd actually going to the game. There's clearly not a great solution for anybody and everybody. So maybe the best solution is, I know Frank's been lobbying for Nashville, so maybe he's going to become a Rays fan.
He does bring I've been to Nashville once. I went last November. And it's cool that they have both the hockey arena and the football stadium basically within walking distance to Broadway and everything. So if they could, and they're building a new football stadium right there. If they could find a location for a baseball stadium that's walking distance as well, I do think that would be a good spot for a Major League Baseball franchise. Yeah,
they still need a place to play though, in the short term.
Well, what I was saying is the Oakland Athletics, I saw their stadium.
They're not the Oakland Athletics. Come on.
Yeah, so how long did it take us to finally call it the IL? After it was like however long, so build in another few years before we finally call them whatever the appropriate name of the Athletics is. The A's stadium in Vegas is scheduled to open 2028 for the 28 season.
Okay, so that's 3 years. That's I was close. I was actually dead nuts on. Mm-hmm. That's in Vegas though. I feel like they put things up in Vegas in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
So I don't know about Tampa. I feel like that won't take as short of a time.
Well,
they can't even get it approved.
Yeah, they can't even find a location for it. It's in Ybor City. It's in downtown Tampa. It's in St. Petersburg. It's all over the place.
Yeah. So I mean, at this point, and it's such a unique situation because they don't have a current major league stadium to play in because of the damage. And I don't know what to.
So the damage at the Trop was so severe that they can never play there again. Like you're telling me they can't play there next season. They can't put some freaking Flex Seal on the roof and play there for another season.
Do you want to improve that place? Do you
want
to bring that place
improving
back?
it? I'm not talking about improving.
I'm saying replace the roof. The roof replacement.
Slap a tarp on there.
That is what was there. It was a tarp, and for them to replace it, it's millions of dollars.
Leave the holes in there. Get some sunlight. It might look better.
That's what they should do. Frankly, they should just put grass in the field, rip up the concrete, put some grass in there, and just make it an open stadium. What's the difference in what they're doing right now?
Other than the fact that
things will get ruined, it's fine.
Well, no,
figure that out too. Put some tarps over the things that'll get ruined.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, what's the difference? It's an open air stadium then. Just open it more.
Well, the funny thing is, I remember the plans from back when they were going to be in Ybor City. It was an open air stadium because I don't think they had the funding for a dome.
Yeah, so I don't know.
All right. Well, we've talked enough about where the Rays are going to play. Opening day starter, none other than Carlos Rodon, was announced. He's going to be the Yankees opening day starter, and I ask you, is he the most hated Yankees opening day starter in Yankees franchise history?
No, not even close. And I think the hatred for Carlos Rodon has gone way down anyway at this point, especially with the fact that we don't have other arms besides Max Fried, obviously, who is the new darling, and everybody is looking for big things from him. But the fact that Cole went down now, all of the hatred towards him is pretty much, I think, gone at this point. He frustrates me, but I don't hate him.
Oh, I hate him.
You have hatred in your heart. So.
He's one of my, I said this in our text chat, he might be my least favorite Yankee of all time. I cannot root for him. I hate his face. I hate the way he pitches. I hate his attitude. He's not very good. He's overpaid. I hate everything about him.
He's very much overpaid, but but when you look at like how much he was paid and what he was brought in here for, it's not a reach for him to be the opening day starter.
Well, I mean, I think he's by default. I think Fried
would be the guy for sure.
He should be the guy.
But thankfully, we get to see him on Saturday, right?
That's
he lines
right.
up for Saturday.
I'm
so
much happier about that we're going to be able to, because we're going to the Saturday game, second game of the season, and Fried would be scheduled to pitch then. But I don't know why you would. I mean, Fried is a quality, a number one caliber pitcher. Rodon
He's a bona fide
is
number one. Yeah, no doubt. Rodon, but again, like the way it lines
because
up.
of because Rodon is a previous Yankee, because he's been here 2 years. It's not
No,
like
my
he's
point
done
is, it's
anything-
just not egregious given why he was brought over, the money he's being paid. Like
Yeah.
obviously the performance hasn't
why didn't he
dictated
get
him
it
to start that. But
he didn't get it last year.
again,
when
I
Cole
think it
was
depends
out.
on when the reason he's getting it this year is because he lines up for the day.
Yeah. Do you remember who started opening day last year?
I don't.
Cortez.
Oh right, yeah. See, it doesn't matter. None of it matters. Who's on the bump on the first day?
So you're saying Carl Pavano 07 is the most hated opening day Yankee starter of all time?
Probably, yeah. Carl Pavano had like a real, because he was at the beginning of like getting a bigger contract, coming over as free agent, and then the fact that he had like these really obscure,
Getting a
weird
bigger
injuries.
contract. It was a $39.5 million total contract.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying bigger because of today's
Rodon makes
world.
$26 million per year.
Right. That's why I said bigger, and I was really referencing the time, the era of what that contract was at the point.
It wasn't
was
even
bigger.
that big though at the point. In retrospect, you go look at what other pitchers. I mean, that season, 2007, Roger Clemens was signed to $1 million per start.
Yeah, but he was Roger Clemens. Carl
Okay.
Pavano was Carl Pavano, and there was the amount of the storylines. I feel like those were the storylines. Like, what year was that?
That he signed?
He signed.
05.
Okay, 05. You could put 05 at like the close to the beginning of the internet and like social media, right? Not the internet, but social media. Social media platforms were starting to come alive. So you started
Twitter.
to see.
Twitter was what, 08?
Yeah, I think Facebook was like around.
Well, Facebook was 04. Yeah.
So you're looking at like all of a sudden everybody has an opinion about stuff, and you start to see everybody's opinion way more. And I think he was at the very beginning of that because it was such a weird injury that he and it was multiple times that he did this, right? There was one.
Oh,
that
he was injured all the time.
Wasn't there one
And then-
skiing?
I don't remember the
Something about his
specifics of the
ass.
injury. There was
Like, he had
something
an
about
ass injury.
He had an ass injury, and it's weird how it's like he spent too much time on the toilet or something weird. But I think the thing that pissed everyone off is he threw a conniption fit because he thought his contract was $40 million when it was really $39.5 million.
Yeah, but
And
so
then-
the storylines kept coming out about like what his per start number was, and it was egregious for him.
Well, sure, because he never pitched. But then
Right.
because of random factors in 07, the Yankees rotation going into that year, I mean, Andy Pettitte came back that year, but for whatever reason, he wasn't starting the season or something like that. Like, I don't remember the specifics as to why Carl Pavano lined up for opening day, but yeah, Carl Pavano pitched opening day 2007. And it's kind of a dark period in Yankees opening day, in Yankees starting pitching in general, because Randy Johnson was the opening day pitcher the 2 previous years. Randy Johnson came over as one of the, not just the best pitchers in the game, one of the best pitchers in history. So everyone was like, oh, of course, Randy Johnson's going to be our opening day starter. They acquired him to be the ace. Turns out he was over the hill and a jackass and wasn't an ace for the Yankees.
And now he's a photographer.
Now he's a
good one.
photographer. What's the first thing you think of when you think of Randy Johnson?
The bird.
The bird.
The bird getting demolished in the middle of the air is probably one of the most bizarre sports moments in the history of sports.
Yeah. I always say
The timing of that is just unbelievable, where you just see just like a poof of feathers. It's insane.
he's one of the biggest Yankees killers of all time, though.
Yeah, he was up there for sure.
I mean, he beat you with Seattle back in 95. He beat you with Arizona in 2001. And then he beat you in 2005 and 2006 when he was a member of your own team.
Yeah. I was going to say, of the opponents, pitchers wise, that Diamondback squad had 2 of them with Schilling and Johnson, who came back to haunt the Yankees on multiple occasions.
Mm-hmm. So obviously Cole was the opening day starter from 2020 to 2023. 2024, he started on the IL, so he wasn't there. And then this year he's injured as well. So Rodon gets the start. The Yankees franchise record for opening day starts, Ron Guidry, Whitey Ford, and Mel Stottlemyre are all tied for the franchise lead with 7. And CC Sabathia has 6 opening day starts as a Yankee.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Sabathia, I didn't realize he had that many.
Yeah, I was going through the seasons. It would have been 09 through, I think, 2015. He was He was the opening day starter, even though towards the end of that run he wasn't the dominant pitcher anymore. The Yankees just, I mean, think about those rotations in those 2013, 2014 days. This, Tanaka came over, but he was a free agent, so they weren't going to give it to him. They had Hiroki Kuroda, who was pretty good for them.
He was solid, man. He was like the 1 year assassin who just came in and won, through to a 3 ERA and
made every start.
17 to 20 games. I feel like that. He was just a solid dude.
Yeah. So the Yankees pitching depth obviously taking a massive hit this spring. Clarke Schmidt was scratched from his start last weekend with shoulder soreness. And then Boone's quote was, "With some of the attrition we've had, it's not something we want to push. He's just not bouncing back as well as he wanted to." He is slated to throw some batting practice on Thursday, today as we record, but may not be ready to pitch on April 3rd against the Diamondbacks, which is, I guess, when he would line up to pitch his first game of the regular season.
And instead of the start, he did throw a bullpen session. He did 24 pitches instead of that start where he was scratched against the Blue Jays, if I remember correctly. So, look, I appreciate the fact that if they see something and it's like not exactly how they want it, not saying that there's like an obvious injury, but if there is general soreness or whatever, and he's not bouncing back the way that he was, to take a beat and just like be precautionary. I think that's the smart thing to do, understanding that Clarke Schmidt has had a world of injury problems in the past. So especially at this point during the season, we should applaud them for doing that, instead of trying to push it through.
Now we're giving the Yankees medical staff an applause.
No, I don't know who it is. It's just like, as soon as you don't even have to get to the medical staff at that point. As soon as Clarke Schmidt says, "I don't feel exactly like I normally do," then we say, okay, every coach, anybody who's on that team says, okay, let's just not throw you today, and let's just take it a little slower to make sure everything's lining up in the way that it's supposed to.
We were talking just before we started recording, if he's not ready to go to start the season, which is a very real possibility with
it's probably likely
a week to go before the season starts. It's looking like Carrasco and Will Warren are in the rotation to start the season. And Carrasco is interesting as well because the Yankees obviously are going to need arms, and they're going to have an option on him where if he is not on the 40-man roster by this coming weekend, he can opt out of his deal.
Which leads me down the direction of this. Schmidt is going to they're going to give him more time. They'll probably put him on the IL to start. Carrasco gets the nod to start camp, see how he does, see what happens. Because if you look at his history, Carrasco's been a very, not a dominant guy by any means, but he's been like an efficient, very quality starting pitcher in the league for a long time. And he's reshaped some of his pitch mix, and he's looked very good. He just pitched a really good outing against the Braves. And so if you can find something where he has, kind of found something in his arsenal and allows him to be more methodical and get through 5-6 innings, then that's an asset in the back of your rotation. And if you have to make that decision, then you keep him on. I think you keep him on for that reason. I think it's kind of a no-brainer, especially with Schmidt. There's no reason to rush him back.
The thing with Carrasco is, like, what other options do you have? Because the reality is it's been since 2022 since he was an effective pitcher in the majors. Okay. In 2024, he threw 103 innings to a 5.64 ERA. And the year before that, in 2023, he had a 6.80 ERA and 90 innings. In 2022, he had a 3.97 ERA and 152 innings. So it's been a while since he was what you would call an effective pitcher.
Yeah, and they don't need him to be an effective pitcher for the duration of a season. They need him to be an effective pitcher for a month or two, maybe.
I mean,
so if they can
define effective, like they just
give me a 5 to 6 innings, 3 runs. That's, to me,
we've got to recalibrate our brain, Scott. 6 innings is ace material.
That's why I backed up off of it. Yeah, I'm like,
he's got to go 4+.
But he's the type of guy. That's the thing. Like he's a bend but don't break type of guy, especially now in his career. So if he can muster through 5, like, you're throwing him out there for the 6th probably.
So I'm looking at his Baseball Savant page right now. Last year, the numbers are not pretty, but the one thing he excelled at, actually 2 things he excelled at: chase percentage, meaning he was able to get guys to chase, and ground ball percentage, which means he kept the ball on the ground when they put it in play. And those 2 things are not a terrible thing to have as your number 5 pitcher if he is going to be a 4+ inning guy, keep you in the game type of thing.
4+ inning guy. Yeah, for sure. And that's what
Dude, I mean,
that's
it
what
sounds
I know.
terrible. Like you rewind the clock 20 years and someone would slap you in the face for calling a 4-inning pitcher like a starter, but that's baseball.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, I think I don't think it's a terrible option given what he's looked pretty good too in the spring. I mean, I know spring training, take it for granted, take it for what it is. Some guys look good and start out like dog shit in the regular season, and then the opposite can be true as well. So, I could be convenient when I want to be convenient in what I'm seeing in spring, and he looks good, best shape of his life.
Spring is usually better for pitchers because hitters' timing is not there. They're just working on things. You're also going to be facing some guys who have no business being in the major leagues. So I think
they're also lining up fastballs. So when you have a guy like Cookie Carrasco who's going out there and throwing a good mix of pitches, and not
that's not a good nickname, by the way.
Well,
as a pitcher, you should not have the nickname Cookie.
Where did it come from? That's my question. Logan?
No idea.
Can we find out where Cookie Carrasco came from?
Google or Wikipedia can tell us that.
But so a guy like that who throws a good amount of off-speed stuff probably has more success during the regular season and early in the season as well when guys are still especially getting their timing on the off.
All right. While Logan finds that answer, I want to tell you guys about Mint Mobile. It's easy to be frustrated by big wireless carriers because the bills can be crazy high and so many of them have bogus fees and, quote, free perks that end up costing you more in the long run. What is also easy is switching to Mint Mobile, which is one of those things that does not have frustrations because it's going to shock you how easy it is. All your contacts come over. You're going to ask, why haven't I done this sooner? Say bye-bye to overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages, and say hello to Mint Mobile starting at just $15 per month. Plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. As I said, you use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan. Your contacts and all your personal details come over with you. You can shop plans at mintmobile.com/Bronx. That's mintmobile.com/Bronx. Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months. 5 GB plan is required, which is equivalent to $15 per month. New customer offer for first 3 months only, and then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees are extra. Go see Mint Mobile for details. Thank you very much to Mint Mobile for sponsoring us today.
You guys want to know the answer?
Yes.
So I found an article on MLB.com. It says, why cookie? Well, it's not that complicated. Teammate Chris Perez caught the pitcher eating cookies in the clubhouse back in 2011. Cookies and milk, to be exact, because you can't really have one without the other.
Okay. There you go. Has nothing to do with throwing cookies over the plate. It's just the man likes a cookie with milk, which...
Well, when you've got a 6 ERA, you can equate it to cookies over the middle of the plate.
Maybe over the last couple of years, but this year's different. He's in the pinstripes. Are you kidding me? Everybody gets motivated. It's a dream.
All right, next on the list I want to talk about, because this news also came out over the weekend, Paul Goldschmidt was removed from the game with a sore back. At the time, Boone and him both said, this is not a big deal, guys. I'm going to be ready for opening day. Do not worry about it. He received treatment for his back on Tuesday, expects to return to the lineup Thursday or Friday. So
load management,
nothing to see here. It's just a 37-year-old who's sore back after 3 weeks of spring training. No issues.
Yeah, sore back. I mean, you can wake up and have a sore back. Again, I see this as precautionary. We're getting this close to the season, so if something feels a little weird, don't do anything to stress that out. And like you said, 37 years old, so things like that, you gotta listen to the body. You gotta listen to the body and do it. What I have seen is Paul Goldschmidt look very good. Paul, the two guys that have come over here that are supposed to fill the offensive void for what the Yankees do not have any longer in 2025. Cody Bellinger and Paul Goldschmidt have looked very good in the spring, especially Bellinger. Bellinger's damn near hitting 500. Both of them have had power. I think three, 4 home runs each. They've looked good. Goldschmidt doesn't look like the slow back Goldschmidt from the beginning of the year in St. Louis last year. He looks like that second half guy. I can't say that I've seen Paul Goldschmidt play over a long period of time. I didn't watch a lot of games with him in it, but he looks like the same guy. He looks like the same type of guy right now. And the way he's a massive human being. Do you look at his forearms? Like, I want to see Paul Goldschmidt and Matt Holliday arm wrestle, because those are two massive forearm men that would be a dogfight. But he's a big human being.
He's listed at, where's his height and weight? 6'2", 225.
6'2"?
So it
I
says.
thought for sure he was 6'4", 6'5". 6'2"? He looks bigger than that. His forearms are
6'2" is a big guy.
6'2" in diameter.
6'2" is not short. Well, you're acting like 6'2".
It's not short, but I thought he was
shrimp.
bigger. It's not. But 6'2" is like.
Oh, yeah, baseball is one of those sports where you get Aaron Judge and then you get, Anthony Volpe's 5'9" or whatever.
He's not 5'9". He's 5.
Anthony Volpe, I think, is listed at 5'9".
Look it up. I think he's 5'10" or 5'11". Anyway,
we've
already had this.
If
We've
he's
already had this.
If he's listed at 5'10", that means he's really 5'9".
5'10".
5'10".
Yeah. That's
No
on
one-
his tippy toes.
No one lists themselves at 5'9". I'm sorry. If you're 5'9", you're 5'10". In the book. Every single person. In the book.
If anyone doesn't know how tall Scott is, now you know.
Yeah, I'm 6'1".
6'1". Listen, the thing with Goldschmidt is, again, it's good he looked good. It's good that he's looked good offensively in spring training and that he's coming off a hot second half. And
hold on a second. For the record, anybody who has not met me, I am not 5'9" either. Okay, let's get that straight. I'm a solid 6 foot. Okay, keep going. Alluding to the fact that I'm 5'9".
If you're 6 foot, I'm 6'3".
Well, congratulations. You're taller than Paul Goldschmidt.
The thing about Goldschmidt, it's like, again, with this, the solutions that Cashman has found for a lot of these positions have question marks. Is this sore back a couple day thing and we never hear about it again? I hope so. It very well could be. But if this sore back is a thing that pops up 3 or 4 times this year because he's 37 years old, like, I'm not going to be surprised.
No, but this is also a thing. Like when you get a 37-year-old player over here, you build in and just understand that there's going to be probably some time on the shelf, most likely for stuff like that. I fully expect that. And that's,
How many games you're marking for Goldschmidt? Because I think he played a full season. Like, he's been a durable player.
I was just gonna tell you guys that I'm looking at his baseball
he's a
reference.
durable player.
This guy has played over 150 games in every season since 2015, other than the COVID season.
Mm-hmm.
And how many did you play last year?
154.
Okay. That's a couple off days sprinkled in here and there.
That's great. So to me, like that gives you you have to almost like get rid of your injury guy, question mark thing. It's more just an age and like where he is currently.
I didn't call him an
performance.
injury guy.
No, I know you didn't, but when you're looking at someone who's 37 years old and general soreness, maybe this is the reason he plays all these games, because he knows how to listen to his body and he understands when he needs to take a beat or getting taken out of a game just because something doesn't feel exactly right. Maybe he just knows his body really well. So over under 145 games, Paul Goldschmidt this year. I know what you want to say.
No, I mean, I'm going to take his track record and say over. And I also think if the Yankees were fully healthy, if Stanton was there and everything, I would take the under, because they would filter in more rotations and days off for players, but they don't have that luxury.
No, they don't. I think there's a big question. I think there's a big kind of X factor here. And I know we haven't done our bold predictions yet, which we need to, by the way. We need to do our bold predictions.
Good thing we have another episode before the Yankees start playing.
Just remembered that. So I'll go out on a limb here with an X factor candidate that has a direct effect on what Goldschmidt does and how many days he can get off, is Ben Rice. And if Ben Rice does come in and use that 10 pounds of muscle that he's added in the off season and, be that hitter that everybody, I think in the organization believes he can be, then you have more opportunities for Goldschmidt either to, take a day off of first base and just DH, which will happen as well. So that'll still be a game played, but he won't be in the field. And you have Ben Rice, and potentially Dom Smith, like guys like that who can play first base more. So you're going to see them more.
Bellinger might play it at first too.
That's true too. Yeah, exactly. They might match up with, depending on who the pitcher is.
Right. But I think their plan probably when they signed Goldschmidt, they at the time, I'm assuming, thought Stanton's going to be there for the season, is that you could get days off for these players by rotating them through the positions. So,
I mean, we know that two things. Cashman believes that there are times on the shelf for Stanton built into his career or to his season. So,
but now we're talking about probably missing the whole freaking year,
or at least a good chunk of it. But either way, like I think that was still part of it. They, being able to rotate on the DH spot because Stanton's not going to be an everyday guy all the time. So I think that was also built in. And by the way, has Bellinger played first base during the spring much?
I think his first game at first base was yesterday.
Okay,
he did play yesterday there.
Yeah, I mean, besides that, I don't remember seeing him over there. Not to say that I've been watching every single spring game either, but that's but yeah, that's the thing. Like, I don't know. Bellinger's the type of guy who's he's a baseball player and can go over there and play first with no issue.
Yeah, and he's not going to be hopefully not a long-term solution at first base. He's going to be a day, a week maybe, or something like that, or probably even less than that. And the reason I say with Stanton out, you might be thinking like, oh, this opens up the DH spot more with Stanton out. The thing is, you could put up with a day off from Goldschmidt more if you had Stanton's bat in the lineup.
Right.
You're so starved for offense, and especially right-handed power, other than Judge in that lineup, that when you take Goldschmidt out, whatever Goldschmidt is, it's going to be pretty damn noticeable that there's just no power from the right-handed side other than Judge.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. So yeah, so that's good. We're looking at his track record and understanding that he plays that many games. That's good. If I didn't hear that stat of where he's played, the amount of games that he's played for that long consecutively in those seasons, I would have put the over under at like 140, but 145 given the track record.
But also
because 140 that's purely on his age.
Correct.
Yeah.
But also, do you guys think that the Yankees have an effect on that? Because they don't run old players into the ground. They're going to give him more off days. So even though I think
like Andrew was saying, though, it'll be dictated on what the offense is looking like.
If
and
they're
fact
getting,
they don't have offensive power from the right hand side, it's going to be tough.
But they don't take April seriously.
It's not just about April though. If they don't have offense, they're going to have to put Goldschmidt in there. They're not going to have a choice. If Ben Rice is bad, which he was last year, you take out that Red Sox game that Ben Rice hit 3 home runs in last year, his OPS plus with that game was 72. His OPS plus without that 3 homer game is probably 35. Okay, so Ben Rice was freaking terrible at the plate last year. And they're like, oh, this is our silver bullet this year. Like, based on what?
Yeah.
Based on the fact that he can, that happens a lot when guys come up. Obviously, you could use the Judge comparison and what he did not do for his first, cup of coffee up at the park. I'm not saying Ben Rice is Judge, but similar swings. They have allegedly similar swings. Allegedly.
Oh, because of the yeah.
No,
I thought we said it was Spencer Jones, and then he got all pissy, and then we thought maybe it's Ben Rice, right?
Whatever. But I do think he's a better hitter than what we saw. I do. And the fact that he's stronger coming in, like there are so many people that are really high on him, and the fact that a lot of people speak very highly of him and the way that he impacts the ball, to use an Aaron Boone phrase. So I'm excited for him because I think that he's got it in him. We'll just see if he can do it. But I do believe like he's a big, if he comes out of the gate hot, it does change things and it takes a lot of pressure off, I think.
You think he's going to be the DH opening day?
I do.
Do you guys think that he maybe, we talked about Carrasco and stuff. Do you think that Dom Smith maybe makes the roster over him or with him?
I think with him.
You think they both make the roster?
Well, because I think that Ben Rice also, because of the flexibility and position, gives the Yankees an interesting place where they can really, like, if they want to in the first month, like get rest for a bunch of dudes, including the catcher position, and be able to rotate through if they wanted to. I don't know how comfortable they feel of Ben Rice catching at the major league level a few days, but from what they've said and what we've seen him do in spring, I think they would be okay with him behind the dish.
Logan, why did you say Carrasco would affect that? Just because they need the extra pitcher?
Yeah, it's just like if they don't put Dom Smith on the roster, they're going to lose him in a similar way to Carrasco. Like, it doesn't matter if maybe Rice is a better option. If it's between the two of them, they're probably going to they would want to keep both and say,
well, don't forget that Smith can also play the corner positions in the outfield as well.
It's
so
true.
he gives them more flexibility in that regard. But he's another guy that just hasn't shown that he can play on the major league level in a few years.
Who would even be in contention for that other bench spot?
Well, the bench right now that looking at roster resource that I was looking at is the backup catcher, Dom Smith, Oswaldo Peraza, and Trent Grisham, with Ben Rice being the DH. So I guess
Grisham's definitely making the team. We know that. That's not a
100%.
question. You got to have the backup catcher.
And Peraza doesn't have options, so unless somebody comes calling, they're probably gonna play him / put him on
so
the bench.
here's the other. JC Escarra is making the team as well. I think he's coming into the season as the backup catcher, and he's got some thump. Like he's been hitting, and that's been part of his game. Like the guy can hit, so wouldn't surprise me 100. If he's rotated into a DH spot at some points as well. But you have in the notes here with what the Yankees are looking for still, and we've been
this is
talking
the wild
about
card.
this. The wild card is like who else is coming into this roster? Because if you look around also, look at what Oswaldo Cabrera and where he's been playing over the last 2 weeks. They've had him at third base a couple times, but he's been rotating all around the field. And if he is your starting third baseman, I find it surprising that he's not getting more reps at third base in spring on, whenever he's in the roster. But he's still rotating around to different spots. I know he was at third base the other day and once last week, but he's been rotating into other spots, which leads me to believe that he's still going to be used as, a platoon potentially at third base and then, flexed into different spots. And the only way that they can do that is if they have someone else who can play third base. Vivas just got sent down. So yeah, I think there's still,
You're not talking about Peraza. You're talking about an acquisition.
I'm talking about an acquisition.
Right. Because there was a report from Brendan Cuddy in The Athletic that said the Yankees are, quote, motivated to make an upgrade at third base, potentially even before the season starts. Club seems, this is a quote, the club seems especially motivated to upgrade at third base, league source told The Athletic, targeting right-handed bat to play alongside Oswaldo Cabrera, who's a switch hitter but better from the left side.
Yeah. So, Peraza could be that guy as well, but, I still don't think they believe in him offensively.
Well, the thing with Peraza, I think we said this on an earlier episode, it's shit or get off the pot. Like, you're either going to give him a realistic chance or why are you putting him on the roster to play a couple times a week and be a backup third baseman? Like, I don't get it. Just go acquire someone.
That's what they should do. They need to, and so again, like Cashman has done this. This is his time to shine. The last week of spring training to bring in a guy that is under the radar, but gives plus production that we weren't expecting. So let's see if he can do it again.
There's a lot of smoke around possibly Pablo Reyes, who's having a good spring. He's a righty, and he's having a good spring. He has a pretty decent track record in the majors of hitting against lefties, of being somebody who's super versatile. I don't exactly know how the contract works. He's an NRI. I don't know if he could go to AAA.
Where is he right now?
He's in spring with the Yankees.
I thought you meant, okay.
Yeah. So, he's had a good spring here.
But he's still on the major league roster. They haven't sent him down.
Yes, they haven't sent him down. He's an NRI, so I think they could start him in AAA. He doesn't have options though, so it's not like they could send him up and down.
Non-roster invitee for anyone not figuring out the acronym.
Yeah.
So he is a righty who hits lefties, so that might be a decent compliment. But then is that super redundant to Peraza?
Yeah,
well,
I just
Peraza
don't know
hasn't proved that he can hit anything in the major league. So I know he's your boy. I'm sorry, but
but what do we even do? We're talking about guys who are probably all realistically
not the people.
He needs to go out and make an acquisition. The same player. These are all interchangeable names, interchangeable talent levels.
Yeah, he needs to go out there and make a move that's going to bring in someone that can actually help this team on the major league level, who has some type of a track record that there's a little something to lean on at least. Like John Birdie would be perfect right now.
Yeah,
honestly.
Aside from the fact that he didn't stay on the field.
Yeah, and he's with the Cubs, by the way, not the Rangers. We got that was called out.
Yeah, people were mad we didn't do our homework.
Yeah, sorry for not tracking John Birdie. As soon as he's not in pinstripes, bye-bye. Yeah,
another thing to look at over this past week is how the back of the bullpen, that indicates high leverage innings. How the last guys
in.
Guys added to the bullpen, least leverage, the low leverage bullpen.
The bubble watch
shape out. Yeah. The shuttle watch.
Yeah. So you're looking at Obviously, Gomez is a guy that's pitched really well in spring. They like him. He's got 5 pitches. He's a guy that's been kind of beaten up by injuries and does not have any options. So I do expect him to take. There's 2 spots remaining with Matzik to be on the IL to start the season, Cousins to start the season on the IL. Fully expect Gomez to be on that roster. And then, so there's one more guy, De Los Santos, I think was the other one that was projected to be in the pen as well.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't surprise me also if Cashman went out and found another bullpen guy for that reason, because that's also what he does.
That's also just less of a concern, in my opinion.
Which is great,
at
because
this
that
point
means
in
they've
the
done their
season.
job with the top, with the heart of the bullpen.
Yeah, but also like there's always gonna be relief pitchers available during the season at the trade deadline. Like that's every single season. There's relievers that get traded. So,
Yes.
But with the rotation thinner because of injuries, the stress on the bullpen is going to be a lot more than we thought it was going to be 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Unless Cookie Carrasco goes out there and throws 6.
Oh yeah, he reestablishes himself as a top flight pitcher, like it's 2021 again.
Get this man some cookies and milk before. Like, let's get a pregame ritual going.
Couple of other injury updates. So it looks like Mark Leiter Jr. is going to be fine to start the season. He was scratched from an appearance on March 13th, but he threw approximately 30 pitches in a bullpen session on March 16th, and then another 18 on March 19th. If the season started tomorrow, I'd be ready, quote unquote. So that's good news. Also, Ian Hamilton dealing with I guess delay in his ramp up due to an infection. He threw live batting practice on March 13th, and then it was last update was March 17th. Don't know if he threw again.
And
Those
he
are
could be
2
a
more
guy
guys in the bullpen. Yeah,
that could be there, could be ready. I think there's still question marks as far as, if they're physically ready to go and built up to the way that the Yankees want them to be built up.
What was Cousins' injury in the playoffs?
I don't remember. So it's elbow, something with the arm.
Wasn't he trying to come back from an injury? I forget what Cousins' injury was.
He tailed off like towards the very, very end. It seemed like his effectiveness was because he came out in August and it was really good. Like he really established himself, and then ran into some arm issues
Right before the playoffs, and then came back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm watching the replay of the Yankees game from yesterday. It's just on in the background, and watching Fernando Cruz just completely botch that ground ball up the first base line, like 4 times in one play.
All right. Well, a couple other things I want to touch on. I categorize this as shit that only happens with the Yankees. Oswaldo Peraza came out of Tuesday's game because he had a 3 p.m. eye doctor appointment.
This is the only opening. He's a New York Yankee. Couldn't fit him in.
Like what? Like you couldn't get a 10 a.m. appointment? Like what's going on here, guys?
The assistant to the travel league secretary dropped the ball on that one. They need they need to be able to schedule doctor's appointments that are outside the facilities, outside of game time. So
Got to get his contact lenses. 3 p.m.'s the only opening.
maybe this
Right
is
in
a
the
good
middle
thing
of the game.
though.
5th inning, got to come out.
Maybe they're like, you know what? This is another guy that needs glasses, so let's get him in immediately.
Remember
Stat 3
Brandon-
o'clock's the only one. Get him in.
Brendan Drury just couldn't play baseball because of vertigo or whatever, eye issues. Maybe we're solving Oswaldo Peraza.
That was the guy that I was trying to think of the name a couple weeks back forever, because we were talking about Clint Frazier and Brandon Drury. Yes, both with unfortunate situations going on with tunnel vision.
Like, I'm sure this happens with other teams and other organizations, but why does it just seem like dumb stuff like this is always happening with the Yankees?
I don't know. It's probably because we don't hear about this stuff on the other teams, and we
Yeah.
are hyper focused on what's happening with the Yankees. But there are probably plenty of people that are going for eye doctor appointments in the middle of a game. It's
No,
probably
I
just
don't
like
think that.
routine.
I don't think there are. I don't know. I'm sorry, Scott.
I'm joking.
How
Andrew.
how inept of an
how after 1,000 episodes in 10 years that you can't understand that I'm fucking with you?
It's just like
It's, if anybody listening, like I guess I just know the
multi-billion-dollar
buttons.
organization.
Maybe I just know the buttons to get George angry, and like I tend to push them because I think it's fun. I will say this: if you guys are going, speaking of getting angry, if you're going to the March 29th game on Saturday, we are going to be in 205 with a bunch of people. A bunch of our families are coming too,
including our children. So
Including our
don't
children.
come expecting to get messed up with us.
Yeah, but Andrew's dad's coming, which I'm very excited for. Very excited for.
Yeah, but it's like, you know, he's in early season form, so he can only be so mad on the second game of the season.
If I could push your buttons, I could push his buttons.
Just tell him that Oswaldo Peraza was scratched because he had to go to the dentist.
Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna have so much material built up.
So this reminds me of back when I played high school baseball. My vision is just notoriously bad. I've had contact lens problems for years. I've had glasses since I was in elementary school. My vision has deteriorated now to where in my glasses I can, you know, barely pass for driving quality. And so I couldn't play baseball with just glasses. I would need contact lenses, which gets my vision to a much better point. But I remember I was late to a game in high school because I had an eye doctor's appointment. It was before the game, not after the game, or not during the game. But I was late.
You didn't plan very well. Clearly, obviously, there's still time that happens.
I'm going to blame my mother because she was making my appointments at that time. But they dilated my eyes. Anyone who's had their eyes dilated knows you cannot then go play a baseball game. I was a catcher for my high school baseball team. So I came into the game when I arrived, proceeded to not catch anything because I couldn't see the freaking baseball. So I had like 3 pass balls in 1 inning. And I was like, Coach, I'm sorry. He's like, yeah, we probably shouldn't put you in the game.
We've talked about this in the past because I equated it to when I was playing in like a summer league when I was like, I don't know, 24, 25. And we play on Sunday mornings, usually double headers. And I think we went from someone's house. We went from the bar to someone's house directly to the game because our entire team was just a bunch of alcoholics. And the only way that I could get on the field and see anything was drinking Red Bull vodkas in the parking lot. And then I proceeded to put myself at first base, which don't play first base. And I couldn't see the ball. I saw 3 balls and proceeded to drop 2 of them that hit my glove because I closed my glove early and I pulled myself out of the game for that one.
Yeah, no, it's essentially
that was
what
my
I
comp.
did.
Yeah.
It was actually one of like, I had such, like, it was like weird fear because like as soon as I got behind the plate, I'm like, I can't see the ball. Like, what am I doing here? And I somehow had to get through the inning. 3 pass balls though. Yeah.
Well, a regular Gary Sanchez.
Last thing I want to talk about is that the Yankees are just baffled that Alex Verdugo is still out there on the free agent market and no team has scooped this man up because he's such a quality human and such a quality baseball player. Some quotes I'll read you from the Yankees. I'm surprised, Aaron Judge said. He's such a great player. He brings so much value and versatility to a team. Manager Aaron Boone said, maybe a little bit surprised because he's without question a big league player and a big league starting player for me. It just probably hasn't lined up money-wise and team-wise and need-wise, but he was great with us. Marcus Stroman. Yes, I am surprised. That's all I'm going to say on it, but a lot of things are surprising in this game nowadays. I'll just leave it at that. Incredible teammate, Stroman said. Incredible dude. Anthony Volpe said, he's, I think, the definition of ride or die as a teammate. We got so close.
Clearly, they liked him as a teammate. Okay, that was one of the reasons why Judge wanted him on this team from when he was playing with the Red Sox. They liked his competitiveness. They liked that he had an edge. But everybody is really. I mean, Marcus Stroman clearly just taking the high road on this one. It's like very clear. I'll leave it all at that. Like, there's a lot of weird things that happen in this game. Leave it at that. But the fact that everybody just thinks he's a great baseball player and using the word "great" is fascinating.
I mean,
real players manager Aaron Boone is talking about a former player that can't get. The reason why the money doesn't line up is people don't want to pay him money to play baseball for their team.
Because he sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. You would have thought the Yankees are without like Paul O'Neill circa 1998. Like, how are we going to replace this team?
What a clubhouse leader. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was there for 1 year and was at one point for a while the worst player in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
For a significant amount of time.
From May until the end of the season.
Yeah.
Also in that story was that Anthony Rizzo is still out there in the free agent market, but he wants to play this year, but doesn't want to accept what he believes to be a below market deal.
I'm not going to say anything bad about Anthony Rizzo. I hope that he gets a deal and plays somewhere and has success. I like it.
But like Anthony Rizzo,
and his dog
like,
Kevin.
Like I do feel bad for Anthony Rizzo and how the concussion seemingly derailed the later half or whatever. The final couple years of his career, I think maybe would have looked differently had he not had that concussion. 2023 season, he had the concussion. He was off to a good start in 2023. Who knows? Maybe he'd still be a Yankee if that never happened because he was a quality player for them. So for that definitely sucks. But if you do want to play baseball this year, Rizzo, like you got to have some self-awareness. Like you were not a major league caliber player last year. Like you don't get to demand whatever money you think you deserve because why? Like this is a results driven thing.
Well, that's the thing. Like he either, demanding it is one way to say it, but he just won't play if he doesn't accept what he's being offered. So, I mean, he could demand all he wants. He just won't play baseball.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Or he's just waiting for, which I think a lot of veteran guys do at this point who are teetering on whether to sign a deal or not. They're waiting on rosters to shake out and see where there's a bigger need for a guy who can play first and hit from the left side.
I saw someone theorize that the Yankees might be a fit.
Well, they do need a compliment.
Yeah.
It depends on how Ben Rice does. The X factor.
Yeah, I just thought all those quotes on Verdugo were funny because like you couldn't have.
At least they've stayed consistent. They've been consistent with the fact that he's a great player and a great teammate for a long time, and shoved it down our throats for such a long time. So I'm just glad that the narrative is only about him not signing with a different team, and it's not any longer part of the circulating stories that we have to deal with.
I mean, it's kind of amazing though for him because he's 28 years old. Like we're not talking about a 33-year-old who's like, my career is probably done. This is supposed to be the prime of his career.
For sure.
And I mean, maybe he latches on with the team this year, or maybe he goes and plays in Korea or Japan because no other team in baseball is willing to sign him.
Yeah. I don't know what he's going to do. If I'm him though, I'm not stopping playing baseball at this point. You need to go sign somewhere and play. Because if you do, then it's going to be very difficult for you to get back at any point.
Right. All right.
Meanwhile, playing the Red Sox the other day, Rob Refsnyder just continues to rip, and just what a resurgence of what a fairy tale ending for him.
Can you believe Rob Refsnyder is 40 years old now?
It's funny. He's established himself as he's been on the Red Sox now for what, 4 years?
No, longer than that.
5 years?
No.
But he's actually carved himself out like a very good career now, and
he's 33.
He's gonna be on a good team playing significant time. He's been on 4 years, I bet.
This is his fourth season on the Red Sox.
Yeah.
With the Red Sox, he's hit 278 with a 367 on base percentage, a 795 OPS. That's a 119 OPS plus.
I'm telling you, man, he figured it out. He figured it out. He went to the outfield and figured it out.
My favorite was when Refsnyder was like, "Yeah, the Yankees tried to make me an infielder. I'm not an infielder.
I'm not." And then they put me at third base, and it was just awful. I still blame whoever made that decision to put him at third base for that moment. That was terrible. That was like, please get this guy out of the game, but like, don't do it in an embarrassing way. But goddamn, help him out.
He definitely hits left-handed pitching very well.
Yeah,
it's sort of he's carved out his niche there for with the Red Sox.
Good for him.
Mm-hmm. All righty, that's gonna wrap it up. We've got one more episode on opening day morning. Like we said, we're gonna be live streaming that onto YouTube, so please join us for that. And then we'll be in the full swing of things every Thursday morning throughout the season, and maybe some emergency bonus episodes sprinkled in as stuff happens. Any last words, Scott?
No last words. Hopefully I guess there are last words. I say this every time. I said no, and then I say verbal diarrhea after that. I just want to end spring training with healthy players. How about that? Okay. Just give me nothing crazy. And as far as the injury bug, and hopefully Cashman can find an upgrade somewhere.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if because Birdie happened, I believe, the night before the season last year, right?
It was it was the one of the last hours.
Within the 24 hours leading up to opening day. So we might be talking about a brand spanking new acquisition next Thursday morning. We'll see you guys then.